Hello there, this is Ron Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Competing with very handsome men. Now, that Bama Jeremy Meeks is back in the news. He finally got that modeling contract and stuff. And, I remember a couple years ago when he first came on the scene, right? And all these women were going crazy over him. And, of course, a lot of men were hating. And that's typical. That's typical. Because recently when we had that, I forgot that old dude's name. I can't remember that old dude's name. That dude called Sexy Grandpa and whatnot. When women were going crazy over him, a bunch of dudes were hating. Fellas, look. Y'all gotta stop that. Y'all gotta stop that shit. Alright? Because I'm seeing too many men, they getting too caught up on another man getting attention because of the man's looks. Look, let me share something with you. And this is coming from me. Sometimes, as y'all know, I don't really talk about myself that much. I got a couple videos out there, but I don't, most of the stuff I talk about applies to other people, but this is something that applies to me. Like, I remember when Jeremy Meeks first made his appearance, and just to let you know, I don't have anything against him personally. I ain't think much of it. I'm more tripping over the attention he's getting. But I remember I was telling a friend of mine, and there was no shade in this. I was just being totally truthful. I said, if you put me and Jeremy Meeks in the same room with me, him, and 100 women, in fact, I said I would give him a head start. I would give him a 2-hour head start, and I would show up. I could let him dress the way he wants to dress as best as possible, and I'd show up bummy, 2 hours late, and I would walk in the room and not even try to interact with anybody. And I told him I would still walk out of there with more phone numbers or whatever I wanted, some other things too. And the dude laughed because he knew me. He had studied with me, one of my longtime students, so he knew what was up, right? Look, like I said, this ain't really about Jeremy Meeks, but it's about too many men. I meet too many men, they caught up into, they don't look good enough, or their looks don't compete with another guy. Now, just to be clear, and this is something I've written, looks matter. Let's get that out the way. Looks matter, but it's not the whole picture. And really, on what could be another video, it's not necessarily good looks, because some women like a man that looks ugly for whatever reason, or looks rough, whatever, looks intellectual. So in that way, yeah, looks matter. But getting back to the real subject of this, as men, we can't worry about how our looks compared to another man. Now, taking that example I use with Jeremy Meeks, right? Where now, I'm an average look, in my own opinion, I'm an average looking dude. Now, I've had some women say they like how I look, but that don't mean, I'm gonna get a modeling contract or anything, and I'm good with that. Because let me give y'all some real game on that, like some real deep game on the looks thing. Looks is a very powerful lure. As the master teacher BGS would say, it's a trap. It's your trap. I mean, it's powerful. It's going to draw. We cannot deny that. But baiting somebody or drawing them to you and then keeping them are two different things. See, here's where, because in years of coaching, I get a lot of dudes who other people would consider physically attractive, and they even say, hey, women find me attractive. But the same dudes have trouble getting the women they actually want. Because here's the game with that, right? When women see a really good-looking man, yeah, they get hot. They want to get with them. What happens is, and pay attention to what I'm about to say, I'm giving y'all some real deep game now. What happens is, in their imagination, they imagining scenarios where they having sex with the dude. In a nutshell, They expecting a high level of gratification from that guy, right? They expecting it. Only problem is it's very rare that what actually happens if they had managed to get together and what her expectation was match. I want y'all to think about that for a second. She basically, when women see great looking guys, very handsome guys, you know, they expect a high level of gratification and it's hard for them to get it. And then what happens is they usually get mad at the man. Now contrast that with the average looking person, right? That average looking man, she's not going to initially have a high expectation for him. He's average looking, but what the advantage that he has is that he can build himself up. He's starting from a place like, say, okay, let me use another example. Like, say the very attractive man on a scale from 1 to 10 is starting from the number 9. Not so much his looks, but just that high level expectation. The actual experience with him, the woman might rate it a 3. Now, contrast that with the average man, his expectation might be a 4 or something, right? But then when they actually get together, the experience is like a 12. That's why you see like some very beautiful women walking around with some very average looking dudes and you can't figure out why. That's because that man had a chance to go in there and basically show her what he got. Because she didn't have a high expectation. So anything he did, this some real game, y'all. Anything he did looked good in her eyes. Because he had no place to go but up. And what men have to think about is, you know what? Somebody done probably told him, hey, you're not all that, but you can build it up. And see, here's another part of that. There are 3 levels to sexual attraction anyway. The physical is just the first level. And so you get a man and a woman. They meet each other. They go on a date. During that date, they don't really click. I mean, it's boring and everything. You know, it's that one thing. The gratification isn't being met. Now, what happens is that's when the second level of sexual attraction has to come in, and that's that charisma. That's that connection. If you take an honest look at the men who really are lovers of many women to get many women, they are able to make a connection with the woman. And in making that connection, whatever in her eyes physical deficiencies all of a sudden become very attractive. And I've seen this happen with several men. I've seen this happen with men who may have been overweight. I've seen this happen with men who were shorter than the national average. It's because they made that connection. Once you make a connection with a woman, you're always going to look better to her. Once you penetrate that emotional core, you will always look better to her. But see, here's the thing. It's a skill that you can develop. See, one thing with a lot of guys, and this is how I'm telling you how to compete with those guys instead of worrying about them. You can compete with them easily. A lot of guys who have those naturally good genetics usually don't work to develop their skills. They don't have to. There's more than enough women who are going to have sex with them or do whatever with them just because they look good. Of course, the women are disappointed later on in many cases. The only exceptions being when the guy might be good looking but develops some game. Now, those guys are devastating. That's shit. You can't mess with those dudes. But, you know, those dudes are rare. But when you get some men and, they always relied on being tall, or being buffed, and it's kind of a more natural thing, they don't feel the need to develop the other stuff. They might not develop their sex skills, whereas the average looking guy, he's going to develop all of that stuff. He's going to have to. He has no choice. And I've talked about this in other videos. And, many men out there who on some serious player stuff, they say, hey, you know what? I had to work hard. I couldn't just get it on that. I had to learn how to dress. I had to learn how to talk to women. Shit. Even personally, I probably developed the best, my ability to really talk to women when I, wasn't hitting the gym. I was overweight. So, hey, you can compete. But one of the first things is you have to realize, and it's for all the guys out there, because trust me, I get a lot of guys that hit me up privately asking about that, or asking, well, how do I look? And I'm like, well, dude, it's really hard for me to judge another man. And anyone who's listened to this video who's asked that question, they know that's what I say. I can't really judge another man. But the thing is, you can't focus. You got to get past that. You got that, yeah, looks matter, but one, she might like your particular look. But you can't hate on that next man, and you gotta be thinking you gonna compete with him. In fact, overall, I could halfway do a video just doing that, just that whole competition thing. Because if I go in a room, if there's one bad ass woman in there, she's just super fine, and it's about double the amount of men in there because some women organized the event and made sure it was mostly men. I'm looking around at the other men like, damn, man, who y'all gonna mess with? And I don't care. I don't give a fuck what's going on with them. And that's just me personally. That's one thing I'm gonna say about myself. I got total confidence with a woman. Really, if you can deal with one woman effectively, you can deal with 1,000. And yeah, I just gave you some game there. I'll let y'all figure that out. In fact, in a hangout I did with the master teacher BGS, he kind of put it out there what the secret was. But if you can deal with one, you can deal with 1,000. So, get off of that. Get off of that like, oh, he better, he gonna get. No, you just gotta compete with him. You don't go in there thinking I ain't gonna get shit. You gonna go in there thinking, well, shit, the fuck him. This is what I got to offer. And you don't have to present that to women. You just walk in there with that confidence. Don't even have to say a word. They're going to be like, boom. Like, I know that word confidence is a cliche word, but it's true. You believe in yourself. And forget what the other person doing. And that's in anything. That's not even competing with women. That's just life, period. That's in playing sports. Anybody's played sports? How many times, if you played sport or watched something where the team with not so much talent beats the crap out of the team with all the talent? In fact, in any sport, it's rarely the team with the most talent rarely wins the championship. But when the team that ultimately wins or individual, however you want to say it, what they go in there? They just go in there with that confidence. They like, well, shoot, I'm gonna get mine. I don't care what that dude doing. So that's it. That's how you gotta compete. That's the mindset you gotta have. And it's extreme. I just laid out just briefly, and I'm just saying briefly, how it's possible to compete with somebody who might, on a physical basis, be more, look more appealing than you. Because it's like, hey, you still gotta bring the goods. It's like choosing between that economy car and that sports car. The sports car look good, you get it, but then it come with 1,000 problems, whereas the economy car never breaks down. And with women, the bottom line is ultimately their gratification, their pleasure, that feel good. That's if you can bring that shit, regardless of how you look, you're gonna get chosen, and just like giving off that aura that you can bring it. So it don't matter, and that's how you gotta be. I don't care what's up. So don't spend time hating on that other person because they won some genetic lottery. Forget that noise. Do what you gotta do. Just say shit. And I ain't gonna lie with me. I'm gonna use myself as an example, let you know. My thing is, there's something you can learn from me. I'm looking at that fat ass too much on that woman to be thinking about what the other motherfuckers in there doing. I'm like, whatever, y'all. Shit, I'm trying to get her to back that thing up. I don't care about that dude right there. Shoot, in fact, I'm gonna have fun with him. I'm gonna give him the first shot. I'm gonna sit over here and like sip this drink a little bit, chill out a bit. I'm gonna let him shoot his jumper first. All right, I'm gonna let him shoot his jumper. I'm gonna chill out. So anyway, y'all, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.